It's Barnes and Leslie. We are the Morning X, and this is the original 99X.
Hey, you need some sweet deals for the holidays. Who doesn't? Go to sweetdeals.com/Atlanta. Hopefully you've been there before, but how about some great stocking stuffers, great prices at Target, Macy's, a great deal for a 1-year Gold Star membership at Costco or BJ's? Check it out. sweetdeals.com/Atlanta deals.
All right, this is the time of the year where you have to get it together, people. This is the time of year where you're going to start getting with family. You're going to go to the corporate Christmas party. You're going to do all this stuff. And you need to act a certain way, which is why I love having our next guest on from the wonderful Elevate Etiquette. Please welcome Alison. Hey, Alison.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you for being so polite.
Great time of year to have Alison on with the holidays.
Yeah, and we have a bunch of people from all over the place that have sent in questions for you regarding like the holidays and family, because we asked them to do so the last time you were on. So I want to get to those. And if you have one, you can send it over by email, hi@themorningx.com. That'll be the easiest way so I can pull it up right in front of everything going on right here. But some of the stuff you've been talking about in your stream, which you have a great social media in all the channels that you're in, is
Thank you.
airport etiquette. And some of the stuff you bring up, I really want to go through it because I'm going to be honest, I didn't know some of this existed. Talking about air travel. And I saw one of your posts that said, if you're in the middle seat, you get both armrests.
Yes, and the reason for that is because the middle seat is the least pleasant seat. I think most people either they prefer the window seat or they prefer the aisle. So if someone is stuck in the middle seat, the least you can do is let them use the armrest on either side.
What planet are you from? Because
you're stuck in the middle.
That sounds great on paper. And if you're a cute, polite person like yourself, you could probably get away with that. Not everyone can win that battle. Because think about it, if the middle person, maybe they just have a bad travel agent or they're bad at booking their tickets, why should the other people be blamed for it? Shouldn't they just get maybe one?
Well, the idea is that the people that are on either end, they already have more space. Usually if you're at a window seat, you have a little more space beside you with the window, and then you also have more space and just freedom to move around if you're on the aisle seat. So the idea is that you're just being a little more considerate to the person that's stuck in the middle seat.
Barnes, this is why we have an etiquette expert on.
But that window seat, Alison, to argue, is less room because of the curvature of the plane.
Oh, stop.
It's usually a little less. And if you're taking the armrest away from both those people, what are you trying to even the playing field? Those people with the middle seat need to plan better.
Perhaps, but I guess if you feel super strongly about it, you could just ask the other person. And
I'm with you.
It's not always going to be the case that people are going to want to have both of them. But I think in general, a good rule of thumb is if you are like actually touching the person beside you, especially if it's a stranger, then you should kind of move your body accordingly if you can.
Can't you negotiate, like, do you want the front or the back of it? You know what I mean? Like, you can just squeak a little bit of a hole.
You're going to sit there and try to negotiate with the person on either side?
You could say,
come on.
Hello, Miss Fram.
Come on.
Would you prefer to lean forward or backward? Where do you want your arm? Because some people might have the preference to go. I'm just saying. Well, move on.
Be nice. What's next, though, on the travel stuff? This is cool.
What are some of the big ones?
The big ones are taking smelly food on a plane or reclining your seat at the wrong moment. So I think just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should. So don't recline your seat when people are eating and they have their tray tables down. Being aware about lighting. So if the whole cabin is dark and everyone's sleeping and it's the middle of the night, maybe that's the moment where you don't want to have the brightest light that could be keeping other people up. Being considerate and just giving people the benefit of the doubt is also a big one too.
I quit reclining altogether.
Reclining thing is brutal.
Yeah, because I don't want someone to do it to me, and I just don't do it.
Yes.
The people that are just completely oblivious and they just flip their seat back and it hits your laptop, that does piss me off. I mean, at least look back and see what you're... Some people have that look, though, like, they're just saying F you without even saying it.
Haven't you seen those rage videos, though, with people on planes and just, like, banging the back of somebody's chair?
Yeah, like tearing the seat off. The good one you mentioned, though,
kind of brutal.
The food one. Could there be a more self-absorbed, self-centered person than the one that brings the stinkiest ass food on the plane from the airport?
Right.
I baited you.
Notice how
I
nice.
tried.
Notice how nice she's being. I agree with you, Barnes. That's why if I'm going to bring on food, it's something that there's no smell, like a banana or an apple. You know what I mean?
Or even like noisy food too. That can be, distracting too. So
what about talking?
Be considerate.
Talking on a plane. So is it rude if you're in an aisle and someone just keeps trying? And I'm sure women get that a lot more than men. With men sitting on, there's a single woman. I've got her captive. I've got to say stupid stuff. Like, what's the rule on that?
You don't need to talk to people if you don't want to. I think there should be a little exchange of pleasantries, but then you can read a book, you can sleep, you can put headphones on. You're not obligated to talk to someone for the duration of a flight if you don't want to.
Yeah, I'm not a talker. I put the earbuds in.
Yeah, but then people sometimes still with the earbud, you're like, hey, look, earphones.
I'm listening to music.
But I think you can be really direct and say, like, I'm looking to, get some work done or get some rest or anything like that during the flight, and that should be respected. And chances are it's a person that you're not necessarily going to see again. So be kind, but it's not the biggest deal in the world if you tell them that you don't want to speak for this 8-hour flight you have or something like that.
Before we get to the listener emails, are there any big travel ones that we're missing?
So another one is taking off your shoes, especially if you're in close quarters. That's a big one. And then when you're deplaning, so when you actually get to your destination, be civil as you're exiting the plane. There will inevitably be people that are rushing to catch a connection flight, and let them go first. Don't cut. Like, every single person on a plane is not trying to catch some urgent connecting flight, so let the people who are get off the plane.
But they act like they are. Whenever they say
That's the worst.
I'm like, there's those people who are like, I've got a plane to catch. I've got a plane to catch. No, you don't. Just wait. It's so it's like a code. You just watch and let the people, if the ones that choose to stay back because they want to struggle to get their bag out or whatever. There's another one. What about the whole helping with bags? Some people are afraid to touch other people's stuff, and they don't want,
So I would say ask them first, like, may I help you? And 9 times out of 10, I think people will say yes, especially if they're traveling alone and they can maneuver their suitcase everywhere except for the overhead compartment. So I think that's really thoughtful. And then another thing is, don't put your coat in the overhead compartment until you see that there is enough space for bags and coats, because oftentimes planes are booked and there isn't enough space for everyone's carry-ons, never mind coats and other items. So be considerate and just aware.
Yeah, that's just being considerate. And I do ask for help sometimes, Barnes. If it's, something kind of heavy, I'll ask, and there's always somebody really nice that'll help me get the bag out.
Yeah, you just don't want to assume. Sometimes people are, they're smuggling something. They don't want you to get a vibe of what they've got in their bag. Okay, we have a bunch of great listener questions. You guys were great sending in stuff. Alison, where can people find you on the interwebs? I know it's at Elevate Etiquette everywhere, right?
That's right.
Instagram,
TikTok, Threads, YouTube, and then my website, which is elevateetiquette.com.
She's everywhere.
You're liking the threads, huh?
I am. Are you on Threads?
No, whenever I see someone, they try to bait you on Instagram, in your messages or whatever, and then it says so-and-so did so-and-so, and then you press it, and then you're like back, you're in it. I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like people are back on it too, which is weird. It went away for a while. Now people are back on it. Yeah.
I didn't want to move. So if you ever have questions on etiquette, you can always just email them, and the next time she's on, we'll go through them. I have a bunch from last month when you were on. So let's go through this. It's on the holiday theme and on the whole just family visits, travel, all kinds of stuff. Jumping in, Sean from Peachtree Corners. He says, how should you respond if you receive a gift you don't like or you already have?
So if it's something that's offensive, you don't need to accept it. But so long as it's a gift that you think the person thoughtfully selected and thinks that you're going to enjoy, I would say thank you. I would send a note to thank them for their generosity. Focus on the generosity and how you really appreciate that they thought of you and the effort that they put into the gift, but you don't need to pretend that it was your favorite gift that you've ever received. If there is provided a receipt or a way to exchange it, you can go about that process. But if they don't give you a receipt, I wouldn't ask for one. Instead, you could re-gift it, and you want to be careful about how you do that. And we can talk about that, but re-gift it or give it away so that someone who would enjoy it can enjoy it.
I think that's the best way to do it.
It's called a locked-in gift. When they give you the gift and no gift receipt, because then you're just like, it's final, because they're probably regifting it. Leslie, did you have something you wanted to add on this category?
Well, sometimes you get a gift and you're like, what? And then you just politely say thank you. That's all I'm going to say.
I wish you guys could get the version I got on the phone. Leslie received something.
Well, we're on the radio, so
I'm not going to sell you out, but Leslie's like, what am I going to do with this?
I know, exactly.
Let's see. Randy and Roswell, when dining out for a holiday meal, how do you split the bill without awkwardness?
Oh, this is a great question.
Man, who's going to be in this? Everyone.
Yes, so it's best to establish what the plan is when you are making your plans. So whoever is extending the invitation and you're choosing the restaurant, it's helpful to say, we'd love to go to dinner with you, our treat, and then that makes it clear. But if it is going to be the sort of thing that everyone is going to be paying for their own meals, establish that in advance.
Don't you love when people say that?
You got to do it in advance.
Let's go out to dinner, our treat. You're like, yeah, when? Here's another food one. Beth and Marietta. What's the best way to deal with someone taking excessive photos of their meal while others are waiting to eat? So I guess they go out
Or
with
just excessive photos of everybody.
wannabe influencers or anybody. That's right. When someone's
Yeah.
like, oh, let's capture every second
Oh,
of
my
it.
husband cannot stand that. Anyway.
Yes. So I think in that situation, I think it would depend on the relationship. Like, is it your sister? Is it your spouse? Or is it a friend that you're going to dinner with? Let's say it's a friend or an acquaintance, someone that you're not super close with. I would just bite your lip and be quiet and not encourage any more pictures, because this time will pass and then you can move on. But if you are someone who likes to take photos of food, if you're going to do that, I wouldn't do it in very formal occasions, and I wouldn't do it around, let's say, like older people. Like, it can be a very generational thing. And if you're going to do it, it should be a very quick photo of your meal that hasn't been, like, you shouldn't have any bite marks or like missing food. It should be the beautifully plated meal. It should be quick, and then you put your phone away for the rest of the evening.
Here's a good one. Jasmine from Duluth.
Okay.
Is it rude to refuse a shared room or sleeping arrangement offered at a family member's house during a holiday visit? Amen, sister.
A shared room.
When you show up and they're like, here's where you're sleeping.
So in an ideal world, you would know what the arrangements are in advance, and then you could say, thank you so much for the kind offer. We're going to choose to stay somewhere else. So you
Far
can make
away.
other plans. or just a hotel, or maybe another family member's home or something like that. But as an adult, there's nothing wrong with having some standards and having some boundaries as it relates to staying overnight with other family. And so just express generosity, but then assert that boundary or that preference and stay somewhere that meets your expectations.
You mean, Barnes, you don't want to stay in the blow-up bed in the living room?
No. And when I go to Tulsa, I'm always like, where's the Four Seasons again? They're like, yeah, not in Tulsa. And it is awkward, though, because you know, as you get older, you like what you like. You like
Yes.
a certain bed. You like a certain shower power.
Privacy?
Yeah, privacy,
Privacy.
whatever. That is a good one. Elevate Etiquette is where you can find Alison. We have a couple more to go through here. Well, there's a lot, but we won't get through them all. Greg and Alpharetta, how do you handle a family member who insists on picking you up from the airport when you would rather just take Uber or a cab or whatever?
You tell them, you be direct. You say, thank you so much. I really appreciate you offering to pick me up. It actually is easier, more convenient. I will get a ride for myself, and then reiterate that you're really looking forward to seeing them at whatever time you're going to see them.
What about the opposite of that, Barnes, where you don't want to take Uber or a cab and you want someone to pick you up?
That's so rare these days.
Do you ask them, like, hey, you want to pick me up from the airport?
Well, I think it can be more common in areas where the Uber is a little more expensive, or maybe family lives further away from the airport.
Sure.
But in that case, I would ask in advance, and I would be understanding if people are not able to pick you up. But in both scenarios, being clear, being direct, and being kind is the way to go.
This just not in, meaning it's been around. No one wants to pick you up from the airport. They don't. Unless
Family members do.
Maybe if you're the booty call coming in for the first
No,
visit.
family members do.
Maybe. Otherwise, no. The family member doesn't want. They send the kid who just got the driver's license, who maybe wants to drive.
Yeah.
Maybe. Let's see. There's a couple more gift ones. Lisa in Johns Creek. What's the etiquette for giving a group gift if there's a holdout and one person doesn't want to contribute?
Oh.
Then I think perhaps you go forward with the gift without that person. But I also don't think you need to be a real stickler about it. Like, let's say it's a bunch of siblings or it's a bunch of cousins or something like that. I don't think it's the biggest deal in the world if you just give someone credit for giving a gift, even if they didn't contribute.
That's
the person
nice.
who's receiving the gift doesn't necessarily need to know. It's just like,
Let it go.
I don't necessarily think everyone needs to contribute the exact same amount for a gift. If some people are in a position where they're able to contribute a little more or they want to, let them.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a big deal. And relatedly, when you're receiving gifts, just because you receive a gift doesn't mean you need to give a gift. It just means that you need to say thank you and express your generosity. And when you receive a gift of a certain value, you don't need to be giving a gift of the same value. Just give something that suits your budget and is meaningful to you and the person you're giving it to.
That's nice to know.
Okay, we'll end
Yeah.
with a great one. Alison from Elevate Etiquette is here, and this is a good one. As we all head into those family visits, it's inevitable. You know it's coming. This is from Tony in Decatur. How do you politely excuse yourself when you need a break from family gatherings? Like, so you're at the house with the aunts,
Yes.
the uncles, the mom, the dad, the sisters, whatever.
The heat is on.
How
Everything's
do you
happening.
peace out without offending?
I think that you create little moments for yourself. Like maybe you take a walk and you have things to look forward to. You don't need to be talking to your relatives 24/7.
Say that again. I'm sorry. Say that again.
You don't need to be talking to your relatives 24/7.
Got
You
it.
can have moments where you can take a break. I think that's very healthy for everyone. And so whatever you need to do to set yourself up for success, whether that means going to the gym in the morning, going for a run, having time to read a book, to
Have a schedule.
exactly
Yeah.
have a schedule.
You know how when you're at a fancy hotel and you have your little list, either your paper for your, like when you go to that convention, they have your.
Yeah.
I usually publish my football list for the family members and let them know clear these are the 3-4 hour windows that I'm not available for Tech Talk or Apple Bar. I become the Apple Genius Bar at whatever location. But that's great advice. Love having you on. We have to meet you in real life at some point,
I would
Alison.
love
Absolutely.
that. I would love that.
You need to get over to Atlanta. Follow her everywhere, all over the place. Elevate Etiquette. That's Alison. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Alison.
Oh, my pleasure.
Happy
and happy
holidays.
holidays.
You as well. This is the original. It is 99X.